When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Alrighty. It's been a couple weeks, I think, for the most part. Maybe a week and a half, I don't know. Since Dogma 2's been released. And I played quite a bit of it. Probably, I don't know, 130 hours maybe? Just one save file so far is what I've done. But tonight I'm going to set that save aside and start a new game. I've ranked all of the vocations up to rank 9 and got all the augments that I wanted. Played a lot of Thief. Pretty much mostly 80% of what I've played has been Thief. And I like it. And I like Fighter quite a bit as well. Spent a bit of time with Fighter, and I spent a bit of time with Archer, and I like Archer pretty well. Magic Archer, I played a little bit. I wasn't really digging it until I got to rank 5. At that point, it really kind of unlocked and became better. I haven't done much with Mystic Spearhand. I've done 0 with Trickster. I've done 0 with Sorcerer. I actually did quite a bit with Mage. And I like Mage's quick spell that you can cast much quicker. I assume Sorcerer probably will have something like that as well. Mage's spells are pretty nice. The typical ice and fire and lightning variety. Warrior's pretty cool. I'm liking it. There's a lot more oomph to Warrior this time around. You got like that brace skill where you can kind of deflect damage in a sense, kind of like how Dogma Online had its brace. Overall, the game, Dogma 2, I like it. There's a lot of stuff I don't like. There's a lot of new things. Well, there's not a lot of new things. There's some new things that I like. There's a lot of new things that I don't like. It does ultimately feel like basically Dragon's Dogma 1 with updates and also with downgrades and also with simplifying mechanics, minimizing mechanics for, it's an odd reason, I don't understand why. Like 12 years ago they were capable, and future wise you would assume it'd get better rather than just abolish a lot of things. Ultimately though, I'm liking it. I like the fact that if I want to put an enemy to sleep, I have to be this one vocation to do it. Or if I want to silence, I have to use this spell or this one weapon that only this one vocation can use. I like those things. That's one thing I didn't like about Dogma 1 is that every vocation can do every debilitation. It doesn't really separate classes very well. This way, each class, each vocation is, separate from each other. They all have that one thing that no one else can do. Thief, or in general, climbing, for climbing damage, I've ignored quite a bit of it. I'm not too keen on the climbing mechanics this time around. With Dogma 1 it was quite graceful, and I don't know, you could just go to it. You knew what to do. Here I know what to do. It's not about not knowing what to do, it's more about not being able to do it. It's a little wonky with the climbing scenarios. Also with climbing, I don't know, as Thief, at least, I'm doing a hell of a lot more damage with just Splitter or just Kisses compared to climbing and taking the time to get to a specific spot. And also the Thief skill, Gut and Run, doesn't make sense to me. You detach from the enemy after you use it, so you spend all this time climbing into position, and then you hit this skill, Gut and Run, and then you lose that position. Sure, you do a lot of damage, but also, if you just stay there and use Kisses, you'll reach that amount of damage pretty soon, like 4 seconds, and then continue damaging rather than dislodging from the enemy. So that skill does not make sense for me at all. Also the powder charge, powder blast, planting that on the enemy, dismounting. Also, in general, though, the powder blast is just a lot, I guess, just overall weaker. Like, powder blast was powerful and useful in Dogma 1, but I haven't really found much use for it here. End snare is awesome. And smoke bomb, fucking brilliant. I love that. Just gather 4 enemies around, smoke bomb, and then critical kill 4 enemies, throw another smoke bomb, and all the enemies just go to the smoke bomb, which is probably like a generic cheat in a sense, but if you throw a smoke bomb and there's like 2 goblins 10 meters away, for some reason they just go right into the smoke bomb and wait for you to kill them. I kind of like that. The splitter skill is very powerful. Like, basically, you don't have to climb anymore because splitter exists. That formless feint is pretty cool as well. I always forget I have it, and I always forget to use it. But, I mean, it's a cool skill, very powerful. Probably not something I would really use too often because I don't know, it just doesn't really have much functionality for me. Smoke bomb though, yeah, I like that one. And end snare, implicate, splitter. When I was going as warfare, ranking up all the vocations, that was pretty much what I did, was just those 3 skills. I basically just played Thief while being warfare, while ranking up all the other vocations that I didn't want to fucking play. Back to the game, story-wise, well, I don't really care much about story. I don't care about lore. I think the story was okay, but also I think Dragon's Dogma 1 story was okay. It's just a backdrop for me. All I really care about is the combat mechanics and all that. The story can just go piss on a hill, I don't really care. But the story, the unmoored world, I thought was very cool. I never liked Everfall. I liked the idea of Everfall. I liked the dungeons of Everfall. I liked the enemies of Everfall. But I did not like the maze or how to get to each room. I didn't like the whole drop, latch on. Is this the fucking room I want to go into? No, it's not. Shit, it's one more down. Oh no, I passed it. Son of a dick. This is just a big giant dungeon, basically, with a shit ton of enemies that you can just run around and kill, have fun. There's no maze to it. There's no trying to get somewhere. And it's got that permadeath thing to it, I guess. I don't know. I think if you die in there, it takes you all the way back to the beginning of Unmoored World. I like that idea. That's almost kind of like roguelike. Enemy variety, it's pretty much on par with Dragon's Dogma 1. Like, if they had 50, Dragon's Dogma 2 has 50. It's pretty much the same. We lost the cockatrice, though in the unmoored world, that one dragon thingy resembles a cockatrice, kind of, but no petrification. We did get Medusa. That was pretty fun. The Minotaur is pretty fun. We don't have eliminators yet. The Doulahan guy, he's pretty cool. The Fell Lords are pretty cool. They're kind of like a mini living armor, almost. The Liches and the Whites and all those are pretty cool. They're pretty badass, actually. Better than Dogma 1. Wolves, you know, the usual. Goblins, you know, the usual. We've got a little bit more variety of goblins this time. They essentially all function the same. Bandits are a lot more common, possibly. Or, yeah, I think so. Harpies. A little bit of a variety of harpies. And they're pretty easy with implicate and snare. Cyclops, ogres, dragons. There's a shit ton of griffins. There's like no griffins in Dogma 1, and Dogma 2 they're like, here, have a shit ton of griffins. They're all pretty easy, quite easy. Much easier than Dogma 1, which I remember Dogma 1 before Dark Arisen, and it was harder compared to what this is. Not by much, but they were harder. These guys are pretty easy. And it's not necessarily about health or the damage they do. It's their actions are easy, their actions are slow, very predictable. They're just really easy. And they don't quite have the same hitbox that they used to. Like, there's plenty of times where I thought, oh, that arm really should have got me, but it didn't. So yeah, it's quite easy. I'm sure they'll do something with a DLC that somehow just lazily increases the damage threshold or defense or health pool, which might help, but really it's pretty lazy to do that method. I'd much rather have just harder enemies. And I don't know, that's probably about all my thoughts. Overall, I like the game. A lot of misses. There's a lot of misses in there. A lot of things I miss from Dogma 1, a lot of things that they missed out on that they could have added, like still that Mystic Knight shield riposte with an enchanted shield for the fighter would have been perfect fit. Menu options, in-store options, just not the same like it was in Dogma 1. Like, you can't access your storage when you're selling stuff. Kind of lame. Or upgrading stuff. You gotta get it out, put it in your bag, which logically makes sense. I'm fine with that. I do like logic. But when you're spoiled with Dogma 1, and you're comparing it to Dogma 1, then there's things that you miss. And I'm just continuing playing. Tonight I'm going to start over, start from a fresh 100% thief and not touch anything else, and throw Nilly somewhere, forget about her. Currently she's live as a thief, probably level 57-ish, I think, possibly. She's doing pretty good. The pawns, I don't know, I rolled around with pawns the whole time I've been playing so far, but I think I'm ready for solo. They do get annoying. And we'll see what happens, and I'll update you shortly. In the meantime, carry on, stand by. it does feel like Dogma 2 was like half of a thought, half of the effort. It does feel like when they designed it, when they developed it, when they wrote it out on paper and then executed it, it feels like they were maybe just half involved. Maybe they were high. Maybe they were drunk. Maybe they were depressed. Something is missing from Dogma 2. Can't quite put my finger on it, but I think it's just lack of interest or lack of creativity. It does feel like half of what it should have been.